All right, so this was given to me. A viewer wanted me to cover this. Northeastern college student demanded her tuition fees back after catching her professor using OpenAI's ChatGPT. A senior at Northeastern University filed a formal complaint and demanded a tuition refund after discovering her professor was secretly using AI tools to generate notes. The professor later admitted to using several AI platforms and acknowledged the need for transparency. The incident highlights growing student concern over professors using AI, a reversal of earlier concerns from professors worried that students would use the technology to cheat. Some students are not happy about their professor's use of AI. One college senior was shocked to learn her teacher was using AI to help him create notes that she lodged a formal complaint. Ella Stapleton, who graduated from Northeastern this year, grew suspicious of her business professor's lecture notes when she spotted telltale signs of AI generation, including a stray ChatGPT citation tucked into the bibliography, recurrent typos that mirrored machine outputs, and image is depicting figures with extra limbs. He's telling us not to use it, then he's using it himself. She lodged a formal complaint with Northwestern Business School over the incident, focused on her professor's undisclosed use of AI alongside broader concerns about his teaching approach, and demanded a tuition refund. They decided to reject the senior's claims. The professor acknowledged that he used various AI tools, including ChatGPT, Perplexity AI search engine, and an AI presentation generator called Gamma, in an interview. If my experience can be something that people can learn from, then okay, that's my happy spot. Many schools either outright ban or put restrictions on the use of AI. Students were some of the earlier adopters of ChatGPT. The widespread use of the tech created a distrust between students and teachers. Students have been taking to sites including Rate My Professors to complain about their lectures' use or overuse of AI. They argue that it undermines the fees they paid to be taught by human experts rather than technology they could use for free. Now, this is a conundrum. As a former teacher, I want to remind you, if you have a 50-minute lecture with me, at some point in my career, I have spent between 2 and 10 hours to prepare that one 50-minute lecture. So I want to just to go through this at the college level. You generally have approximately 3 contact hours per week, approximately 16 weeks. So you're expecting a professor to provide you with 48 hours of material. The problem is it's going to take that professor between 96 and 480 hours to generate all the material that you're expecting. Now, if I'm teaching one prep, I'm teaching 5 sessions of Government 101, then 480 hours of work, right, isn't a terrible amount, especially when I take 48 times 5. So I have 48 hours of prep, 240 hours of lecture. So we're looking at about 720 hours of work. And once I'm done, and like I said, once you're finished, somewhere in here, oh, here it is. Once you're finished with curriculum, then what you have is you have a book that looks like this, and it has your curriculum in it. It has all of your curriculum. So once I'm done teaching it, or once I'm done prepping it, I never have to go back in and change it. Yeah, I can completely reuse it. Now, AI tools absolutely can streamline the creation of lecture material. I use AI a lot because I have like 3 or 4 ChatGPT tabs open because of the way my brain works. Hey, work on this. Hey, do a deep dive on this. Hey, mock up this image for me. Now, if you haven't been paying attention to my gaming YouTube channel is absolutely getting better because of leveraging AI. One of my weak spots as a content creator has absolutely always been thumbnails. I've just always been terrible at thumbnails. So in recent weeks, I have been leveraging ChatGPT to come up with some basic ideas. And that doesn't mean that I use what it comes up with. I just use it for the idea. I use it for the colors. I use it for the theory. And I say, okay, well, that looks a hell of a lot better than I've used in the past, right? My thumbnails have been my weak spot. So there is no problem with using a tool that's going to help you streamline a process, as long as, you're acknowledging that you're using a tool and you understand that you can't just take what the tool spits out and use it as your own. I end up taking its idea. I end up changing the font sizes. I end up doing a lot of the bits and bobs. But those last three that I showed you look much better than what I normally do. And so as an end user, I'm getting a value out of AI. When you are a teacher and you incorporate AI, you're introducing students to a new technology, preparing them for leveraging that tool. I am kind of old. I remember the internet when it was in its infancy. I remember the internet when college professors were saying you need 10 sources, no more of them than 5 can be from the internet. I made a statement the other day to some students and I said, well, how many hours did you spend in the stacks? And they said, the what? I said, the stacks in the library. How many hours did you spend in the library researching? Oh, I didn't. There's a wealth of books in the library that are well written and on the topic that you're trying to research, and you're not going to find them because you're using all internet articles. And AI generated content, you can easily update it. You can ensure that your students have access to the latest information once you have trained an AI model. You can leverage that. But the problem is failing to disclose that as a professor, right, means you're breaching academic integrity. You're violating academic trust. You're violating institutional policies. If your institution has a policy that all AI work must be credited as AI work, and you're not doing that, then you're a shitbag. AI-generated content may contain inaccuracies or the lack of depth. Just this weekend, I was working on a damage formula calculator, and ChatGPT still makes math errors. Not errors trying to reverse engineer the formula. Literally, this number times 1 plus this number times 1 plus this number, and it's four numbers off. It missed by 4. And I looked at it and I said, redo your math. And it was like, thank you for pointing that out. If you use ChatGPT, DALL-E, its image generator, ChatGPT will tell you that DALL-E makes typos. How is that even possible? It's because it's the limitation of AI at the moment. It makes mistakes. And it's a perceived hypocrisy. Discouraging students from using AI while employing it can create a double standard. Now, there's always been a double standard. There always will be a double standard in education. And the double standard in education is this. This speaks to a fundamental misunderstanding of why we don't allow students to use AI. In their future professional life, I genuinely don't care if students use AI because their job is to create product regardless of the means. But in college, creating product isn't the goal. I don't ask my students to write papers because I want a batch of good papers. I ask my students to write papers because important things happen to their brains in the process of writing papers. The product isn't important at all. The process is. If they use AI to skip the process, they're not doing what they're there to do. If professors use AI to create a great course, that's basically fine as long as the product is good, because professors are there to create great courses, not learn stuff along the way. And with that said, I absolutely agree with that, right? I absolutely agree with the idea that my job being there, why I'm there and why you're there are two totally different things. I already know how to manage a classroom. If the university called me up and asked me to teach classroom management again, I would absolutely leverage AI because I haven't taught classroom management in the better part of a decade. I would grab my information. I would start a new project in ChatGPT. I would say, hey, ChatGPT, we're starting a new project on classroom management. Don't do anything. And I would actually say, don't do anything yet. And I would hit enter. And it would just respond with, understood, we're building a new curriculum. I am going to give you a website address. Here's where I've put everything. Please analyze it. Don't do anything other than analyze. And it'll think for a few minutes. It'll say memory updated. and it'll say like ready to proceed. Please spit everything back out to me exactly as I've written it. And it'll do that. And then I will say, now, please update it and highlight in yellow all the changes you've made. Why would I want to spend 10 hours doing that if it can do that for me in just a couple of minutes? And then I go back in and I do some manual work. But I have 5 or 6 ChatGPT tabs open and I say, ChatGPT, here's a citation, here's a factoid. Please search the internet and find me updated facts from somewhere not all the way back to 2007. Because how would my class go in 2025 if I say, yeah, according to a study done in 2007, ChatGPT, can you find a relevant study on this? Yes. Summarize. ChatGPT, do the new studies agree or disagree with my previous findings? They disagree. Show me where. It's like having a research assistant. I think it's a very, very, very important distinction. I think it's a very, very, very important distinction that you can use ChatGPT. It's a sifting machine, but it's also a really, really great way for you to save a bunch of time. And let me show you an example of where you can save a bunch of time. You could go into Excel and you could spend a lot of time with Excel manually mapping out your plotted data. Or you could go into Excel, or you could go into ChatGPT and you could say to ChatGPT, I need a chart. I'm trying to find the one I built real quickly. But you could say, I need data plotted on a chart. And I just broke something. Yeah. June 8th in 2023, a lawyer used ChatGPT and it created false court cases, which is, a really bad, a really, really, really bad thing, because it literally was creating precedent. And when you give a judge, as an officer of the court, when you give a judge data, the judge is going to read those. The ChatGPT not only generated fake data, it also created the fake case history. But see, you could spend 20 or 30 minutes building this chart, right? You could spend 20 or 30 minutes generating this. This chart took me less than a minute to tell ChatGPT what I wanted. Plotting one set of data beginning at 0 and increasing by 6% per stack. And then plot a second line beginning at 12% and gaining 6% per stack. Not that I don't have the technical expertise to make this chart in Excel myself, but I haven't been doing chart making recently. So it's probably going to take me 30 minutes to an hour to get it how I want it. ChatGPT banged it out in 2 minutes. And then I can ask ChatGPT for this as an Excel file. And when ChatGPT is behaving itself, it will give me a good, clean, nice Excel file. I mean, the way you described it, that just sounds like drawing a couple of lines. No, it's not, because in order to properly chart in Excel, if you want the chart to look right, you have to make the data table you have to put all the data into the table, and then you have to grab it and chart it. Now, there's another program called Inspiration, which is a lot easier, but at the same time, how many people have Inspiration as a charting program? Most people don't. So if you need an asset, you can either ask ChatGPT to do it, and it'll take it 2 or 3 minutes to compile, about a minute or a minute and a half to give it the data. As a lawyer citing that data in a court of law as a fact is grossly negligent, lawyers should face repercussions. The lawyer did. They were disbarred. They lost their ability to practice law. And again, where people don't understand the value of something, I use ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT in show prep all the time. Hey, ChatGPT, I get up in the morning and I just plug this in. ChatGPT, please search the American and international news for the last 72 hours. Please give me the top 20 stories with links and a quick summation. And here you go. Israel launches major offensive. Russia launched largest drone attack on Ukraine. Trump plans call with Putin and Zelensky. Pope Leo's first mass. Romania elects pro-EU. Poland's presidential race. Portugal's election. Iran blasts Trump. Swiss village evacuated over landslide threat. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using, there's absolutely nothing wrong with using ChatGPT for that. It's not like one person complained about my YouTube channel and they say, I hate AI generated content like this, but it's not AI generated content. I write my scripts. Because I'm bad at writing guide videos. I asked ChatGPT, can you lay out a guide video template for me so I can learn? And if you watch my critical hit bounce sniper rifle video, you'll see that in the end, I decided not to build the build video the way ChatGPT would. I said, I will make some changes to my style, but I will not completely change style because then I feel disingenuous. So yes, I think there is a problem. I absolutely do feel there is a problem with a professor using AI and not letting the students know they're using AI. But I also think that there's a huge problem, and this is Indian, I believe, but I believe there's a huge problem when we start going over the top. Caught red-handing using AI. Student demands tuition refund after spotting ChatGPT generated content in professor's notes. It's the same thing with AI generated music. I have several songs coming out in the next couple of months that are AI singers. My lyrics, AI singer. Why? Because it is cost prohibitive for me to try to hire people because the price pointing is too high for the amount of work they want to do. If one of those songs does incredibly well, and by incredibly well, if one of those songs resonates with people, gains traction, and generates money, then I will use that money to have a professional singer-songwriter perform the song. But when people turn around and they say AI is stealing my job, well, then why don't you price your skills accordingly? Simply put, you should be doing your job, not having AI do your job. You can use AI to assist you in doing your job, but having AI do the job for you is basically asking AI to take your job. Yes, absolutely. Finally, the other piece I wanted to go into was this person had a really good comment. I guess my first question is, what are lecture notes? Because that changes my feelings about it. I think, and the article really doesn't explain how the AI was used. If by lecture notes, they mean the professor was using AI to generate a lecture and reading AI generated content as teaching material, then I agree. The student should be outraged, particularly as AI is so frequently factually wrong. But if by lecture notes, they mean the professor was providing notes to the students in lieu of them having to create their own, then I don't feel like it's a professor's responsibility to provide notes for the student. Students should be taking their own notes. If professors are expected to take on the extra labor of not only preparing the lecture, but providing notes, I'm not at all surprised that someone would try to find a shortcut. I wouldn't do it because I don't use AI, but I'm less inclined towards the student in the case. Just take your own notes. And this is something where somebody who's not good at making the artifacts for education could probably benefit from leveraging AI. So let's see if while we're live, we can get ChatGPT to make us something relevant to the show. Let me go back into here. So, yeah, it's the same as that teacher using Khan Academy in class. Exactly. My daughter goes to school in a school district where they use Khan Academy. They don't even have a math textbook. They've foregone buying new math textbooks in order to have Khan Academy. Well, at that point, what do I need the math teacher for? If my kid is going to learn through Khan Academy and not have a textbook that they can bring home, then I don't know. I don't know why the teacher doesn't feel they aren't replaceable. Now, I took my talking points, I threw them into ChatGPT, and I asked ChatGPT to make me a slide. And as you can see, ChatGPT doesn't know what I want because all it did was literally take my talking points and throw them in to a crappy slide. Now, with time, if I taught my model what I wanted, I could probably spend some time refining this and get ChatGPT to kick me out a decent looking slide. But I don't see the outrage, which is what's really come to a head with our media. I don't see the outrage, and the media didn't tell me anything about the story, because all the media cares about is saying this happened, here's some words. Whatever happened to investigative journalism?